Okay, so right off the bat, let me tell you that the identity market is a huge opportunity for you guys. In the past year alone, $60 million were spent by financial institutions on keeping identity safe. Or what about the recent Equifax hack, where over 145 million identities were stolen? Or about the very common prediction that by 2020, the identity market will be worth over $128 billion. This is a huge opportunity for you guys, and I personally think you should take better advantage of it. So here's the big problem I see with the current process. The immigration process is slow, overcomplicated, and just fairly way too outdated. So here's what I'm talking about. Before an immigrant even arrives in Canada or even starts their journey, they have to complete an application. They have to complete an application with the government of Canada, open their bank account, and make their opening deposit. But the problem is that account is frozen. And let's not forget that they can only do this up to 6 months before they arrive in Canada. Next, upon arrival, they have to submit another application and go through an interview with the government of Canada, which they might not even get approved. And then, after they arrive, after all that time, they have to physically visit a TD branch and fill out all the necessary identification and paperwork. So in a day and age where we have flying cars, complete virtual worlds, and can establish a financial institution without even a bank, why are we still using paper to open bank accounts? Oh, and let's not forget that this takes you can only open a bank account from abroad up to 6 months before. And if you're lucky, this entire process takes up to a year. So the bottom line is immigration in Canada is broken. So I think blockchain can solve all this. Quick show of hands, who here knows what blockchain is? Wow. No, I'm not. Well, the way blockchain could be used is to open accounts from abroad. Essentially, what would happen is a smart contract could be used for an immigrant to register all the necessary pieces of identity. And by the way, in Canada, you only require about 2 in order to register a bank account. But then the immigrant wouldn't actually be able to open the bank account until they receive an endorsement hash by a second party, which basically means until their application gets approved by someone else. The great thing about this is that you would have an immutable ledger of every single immigrant or account that's registered. So this would be a zero fraud, zero cheatable platform. So, and contrary to popular belief, this is really easy to create. So essentially what you would need to do is find a way to deploy the smart contract. The contract I've built, I based it off of Deloitte's Smart Identity contract, which is essentially just what I talked about. A contract to register accounts based on attributes or several other parameters that the user added, and then get an endorsement hash by a second party. What then need to happen is you need some sort of interface with a web page. In this case, there are several libraries to do this, the easiest being Web3.js. But the bottom line for this is that I can easily integrate it with something like, say, your TD app, or just create a completely different mobile app entirely. The next thing is being able to send those endorsements. The great thing about this platform is that there are actually 2 contracts, one to register and one to actually send the endorsements. So these 2 contracts would be able to talk to each other, but their methods would be executed on different web pages. So you would be able to send those endorsements, and the user still wouldn't be able to change the backend or cheat themselves or send themselves an endorsement to automatically register for an account. And the next thing is a private key. A private key is exactly that, a key to help access someone's account. This key would be given to them as soon as they're registered or as soon as they get that endorsement in order to access their bank account from abroad. So I've just created a basic user interface here. So as a lot of you will probably realize, this is based off of TD's current website. So as soon as you open an account, so you register all your information. The great thing about Canada is that like I said before, you require only 2 pieces of identification. So here I put your social security number and say a photo of your birth certificate. Then you register for your account, and you can download your private key. But the great thing is what happens in the back end. So here would be where the registry contract would be interfacing with, and you have a new account popping up here. Say this person who wants to register an account, and you can choose or not based on the attributes that the user added, or the or just what they or put simply their pieces of identification that were put down earlier, to send the hash and register the account. So I have a quick demo for you. I've built the platform. So what I've done here is I've created a scenario file, which is basically just a file that automatically executes the contract without needing to interface with it through a web page. So as soon as I test it out, you can see that Bob is trying to create a TD account and has gotten an Ethereum address, which is essentially just the address for their account. You have the address for their account manager, the person who will be providing your endorsement, or whoever you want to approve accounts at your branch. And then you have the attribute hash, which in this case would be a social security number. And here the account manager decided to provide the endorsement. And now that that's happened, Bob has registered his identity. So blockchain is a huge opportunity. I know you guys have probably heard this before, but blockchain is a huge opportunity for you guys. It lets you completely legally, since by law you only require these 2 pieces of identification to open an account and do it from a secure and immutable fashion. I think not enough people are looking at blockchain, and this is a great place to start. Thanks.
Thanks, Jaden. And just for context for those, Jaden gave me his business card, and it said on there, high school student and blockchain developer.
True.
All right, guys.